Hello again. Today is Saturday, April 18th, and it has now been an entire week since I made a video. Um, it's just so hard to find a quiet moment, and I ran out to pick up some stuff from Target, brought to my car. I didn't go inside, so getting better at minimizing my trips when possible. Sometimes it's not possible because not everything is available for the drive-up pickup, but in this case, the things that I needed were, so I did that. So I just rolled my window down, and a guy in a mask handed me my bags, and I was also wearing my mask, and I grabbed my bags and rolled my window right back up. Minimal contact there. It was perfect. If I had a trunk, I would have just popped it, but I don't have a trunk in the van. Anyway, not the point. I guess a full report is warranted. It's been another crazy week of quarantine, lockdown, however you want to call it. So our Easter was okay. It was weird. Some of it was normal. The Easter bunny came, the kids got up and had their baskets and ate too much candy and were crazy. I kind of focused on making food all day, so that's kind of what I was doing. And did an egg hunt outside. We did a craft project with our door. I'd seen it online where we used painter's tape to make a design, and then the kids painted different colors so that it looked like a stained glass window. So that was a cool thing that we did on Easter. And I don't remember what else we did on Easter. I didn't go to, excuse me, there I go touching my face. But luckily all I've touched is the outside of the bag, so hopefully that's not, I should have hand sanitized. Oh, and I have hand sanitizer right here, so I'm going to do that real quick because I have touched the bag. And I should have done this before I touched my face. So I'm going to sanitize this hand and sanitize this hand. Sorry about that. Hand sanitizer is life. Can't believe I forgot that was there. Now I can scratch my nose as much as I want. Sorry, excuse me, my nose itches. Okay. So the rest of the week, Monday was a chaotic day. I was back to working at home. My husband was back at work at Amazon. And the kids didn't have school yet. So they were just kind of oversugared, overtired, crazy. We did not have a good day. It's just really hard to work and deal with them. So then we headed into the first day of distance learning, kind of unprepared and me already stressed out. So Tuesday, the first day of distance learning, was, I think it might honestly rank in one of the worst days of my life, in the top 5 worst days of my life. It was awful. It was impossible for me to keep up with my work. The other thing is, like, Monday, I missed a conference call in the morning that I was supposed to be on that I didn't realize because it was before the time that I normally sign in. And I'd gotten an email about it late Friday, which I didn't work that Friday. So I saw the email when I checked my email briefly Saturday morning, but I didn't know what it was, and I didn't think it pertained to me. I thought I was just invited because of my position. I'm invited to listen in on a lot of other little trainings, so I didn't realize it was something that I was actually supposed to do. So had to have an extra conference call later in the day on Monday to learn this thing because it was actually something that I needed to learn. So that was what I was supposed to be working on Tuesday. So I had a new task that I was unfamiliar with on top of trying to figure out the distance learning. And the teachers are doing an amazing job. But like in most cases, I didn't know what was going to be going on until that day. Even though I had told the kids to check in and into their Google Classrooms on Monday and see if they knew what was going to be going on Tuesday, they all claimed that they didn't see anything, which is odd because when I got in there with them on Tuesday, in a lot of cases, I saw the assignments were posted the day before. Anyway, so we were trying to figure out what time different kids had, like, Zoom calls or Google Meet calls or whatever, and which of those were mandatory and which were optional. And I've got 5 kids that are in school in different grades, 1 in high school, 1 in middle school, 3 in elementary school. So that's a lot of different teachers. The elementary school kids are doing 2 subjects a day. The middle and high school are doing 1 subject a day, and they're supposed to have a lesson and then 2 assignments. And then in some cases, some of the teachers are doing daily question and answer calls. Some of the teachers are doing weekly question and answer calls. My daughter's first grade teacher is having a daily call, and she reads the kids a story and lets them talk to each other, and it's really great. And my daughter's really, I think, getting a lot out of that. So trying to make that call happen. But then trying to figure out, like, we've got 3 Chromebooks from the schools, and kind of assign those to 3 of the kids, but then kind of bouncing back and forth between my laptop and this desktop that we got from a friend, of who's using what for schoolwork, between my daughter and my oldest. And then when someone's on a call, they need headphones. Well, we only have 2 pairs of headphones and one's missing. That's the reason I came to Target today, is to pick up a headset, and we ordered 2 more from Amazon that'll come next week. So hopefully with more headphones, then I won't have to I had to keep sending kids up to their rooms to watch videos. A lot of the lessons are videos. So I'd send them to their rooms to watch their videos or do their calls, and then they would just not come down for hours. And like, again, I'm sitting there trying to do my work, and I've got conference calls for work, and I've got things I've got questions I need to answer and things I have to do at work. And then I've got, the kid sitting next to me that I've got to help them figure out how to turn in their assignment, and then the kids disappearing to their rooms, and I don't know who's where and when, and I can't be on top of that the whole time. And plus the toddler, who's all up in everything. There was a point on Tuesday at which, we were like, I went upstairs for my conference call. I had 2 calls. And so I was upstairs for like an hour in my room. And when I came down, none of the kids had kept doing their schoolwork. They had all disappeared. And the toddler was pouring salt out of the salt shaker all over the table. So yeah, it was going really well. It was a terrible day. By the end of the day, at some point around maybe 3 or 4, I was just like, forget it. Just we'll finish school when Dad gets home tonight, because I can't. The later part of the day is when I'm on call at work, when I'm supposed to be answering all the questions that come in, and I couldn't do that and keep up with them. And I was like, I just need to be in my room and quiet and focus on work for a couple hours. Sorry about this. I don't know why my nose is itching so much. So that was the disaster that was Tuesday, with the distance learning. And then that night also, one of my kids had a Scouts BSA troop meeting, virtual troop meeting. So I had to get him on that. So Tuesday was bad. Wednesday was a little bit less bad. I kind of, sorry. Oh my gosh, this is driving me crazy. I don't know what to do to make it, it's just right there, like right in that middle section. And it's like, I just want to scrape it. So I think that one of the things that I had to do this week was start to let go of my job a little bit. I don't mean like slack off, but I mean, so I don't know how to explain this, but when you're poor, you cling to things a lot, and you cling to money a lot. You don't want to get rid of anything that you have. You have a hard time getting rid of things. That's why a lot of people who are hoarders are also lower income people, because you never know if you're going to need it again. You might not be able to afford to replace it and that kind of thing. Whereas when you have a lot of disposable income, you don't care about getting rid of stuff that's not that you don't need at the moment or whatever, because whatever, you can buy something else later if you need it. And I kind of think that I have that approach to my job right now, because it's now been, in a couple weeks, it'll have been 4 years since I was laid off from my last really stable job. And I've only worked temporary jobs since then. And it's, I've had some gaps in between them where I couldn't find a project to get on. And so I've been continuously employed now since November. And oh my God, I'm sorry. It's going to be the worst video to watch. It's oh God, she's scratching her nose again. What is wrong with her? I can't help it. It itches so bad, and I don't have another chance to make this video, so I'm just going to keep scratching. Sorry to my children and grandchildren and whoever else happens to be watching this video someday to learn about one family's experience with the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020. This episode includes lots of nose scratching. So I got this promotion right before we went to remote work. And there's not a lot of upward mobility in the world of document review. So this is like the one time I've actually, this actually is like the only promotion I've ever gotten in my life at a job. Isn't that crazy and sad, pathetic? But like, I'm afraid to let go of it because it's like, oh my God, I finally made some progress. Like I have more responsibilities. It's going to look better on my resume. I am making more money. And it's the idea that I have had this idea since day one that I have to prove myself to them that giving me this promotion wasn't a mistake and that I deserve this and that I can do a good job. And so I have all this incredible pressure that I'm putting on myself to do a good job, but at the same time, I'm doing this under ridiculous circumstances. Everybody is struggling right now, but I feel like I can't give myself that space to struggle. And I can't admit to the people that I work for that I'm struggling, because then they'll think, oh, it was a mistake to promote her and we're not going to ask her to do this again on another project or whatever. And I don't know if that's true. I mean, honestly, I feel like they've been pretty nice with everybody, but at the same time, you know, we're temporary employees, we're expendable. They don't really need to look out for us that much. And I don't know when this is all over with how they're going to look at my performance and whether they're going to just be like, she really didn't get it done, or whether they'll be like, under the circumstances, she did a pretty good job and we think we still have enough confidence in her to think that she could do a good job under better circumstances. I don't know. I don't know how they're seeing it, but I have to let go of some of that incredible pressure that I'm putting on myself because I can't control how they see it. And at the end of the day, they don't really necessarily have loyalty to me because of the nature of the work, not because of them as individuals. And therefore, I can't be like sacrificing my mental health and my family for them. I'm at right now trying to give not just 100%, but extra to both my family and my job. And that's not possible. I can't do that. And my family needs me more. My kids need me. And they need me to not be so stressed out by my job that I can't focus on them, that I can't be there for them, that I'm constantly snapping at them. They need me to be extra patient, extra attentive, and supportive. So I'm trying to, I mean, I can't just like cut back my hours or anything because I need the money. But I'm just trying to change my mindset and not put that pressure on myself. I'm still going to do my job to the best of my ability, but I'm not going to freak out over it. And if I have a chunk of time in a day where I end up not billing as many hours and maybe not getting as much done as I needed to because my kids needed me, so be it. And if they question me on it, then I will explain that in that moment, my family needed me. And if that means that at the end of this, they don't think I did that great of a job and don't want me in this kind of position again, fine. I will put it on my resume. I will go to another agency who will, hopefully give me a chance. I don't know. I can't control it, but I can't put that much effort into this right now. It's a hard situation to be in because it also all comes back to family. I'm not putting this pressure on myself because of some ego trip or because I just want to further my career. I need the extra money. I need to be able to stay employed after this because my family needs me to support them financially. So they need me physically and emotionally right now, but they also need me financially. So I can't just blow off the job. Like, I wish more than anything that I could just stop working until the kids are back in school or things are just normal again, some way for them. But I can't afford to do that. I have to keep working so that we can pay our bills and buy food, So it's not just work versus family, because then it would be more obvious and easy to choose, okay, I need to focus on family. But work also is for family because we can't afford otherwise. So it's hard. And I know I've just gone on and on and on about it, but this has been an incredibly trying week. I do think that we made some progress as far as getting the hang of the distance learning, figuring out where to find all of the assignments and how to turn in the work and that kind of thing. And like now I got my another headset, I've got more headsets coming, so I won't have to send people off to their rooms. I also have a much better idea of which kids I can trust to work independently and which I can't. And like I know that my daughter needs a lot of hands-on assistance with her stuff, which I should have expected because she's 7, she's in 1st grade. But I know that now, and I'm going to have to, incorporate that into my day. Otherwise, things are still just really hard. It's hard for the kids. They miss their friends. They miss normalcy. The weather has been, we've had some bad rain and some cold days, and so they haven't been able to just get outside and play. And like today's Saturday, and we really should have gotten out for a family hike somewhere, but we just didn't. We're tired. We're staying up too late, and everybody's tired, and we're on a crappy schedule. It's now airport rules as far as meals go, meaning you can eat whatever food anytime because it's like we're all jet lagged and we don't know what time it is. We don't know what day it is. We don't know what anything is anymore. In the world, our schools of closure has been extended to May 15th. We're still pretty sure they're going to be closed for the rest of the year, but they haven't officially made that announcement yet. They're taking it in increments as they figure out how things are going. They do think that we are possibly at or close to the peak here in Maryland, so that our numbers are leveling off some and may start to go down soon. And once we've had a couple of weeks of downward numbers, then we can start to look into ways to start opening things back up. Again, I don't think it'll be schools though. It just seems really risky to pack a bunch of people who don't naturally have a respect for avoiding germs, into a small space for many hours a day. That just seems like a recipe for spreading. So probably not schools. Probably there'll be different types of businesses that'll start to open up back first. I don't know how that'll affect me work-wise because, first of all, I work in DC. Second of all, it's a temporary project, and I feel like now that they've got us set up remotely and things are going reasonably well remotely, I think they're just going to finish this project out remotely. I don't think there's going to be a big push to get us back in the office just to finish it up. I don't know how many weeks we have left. I think at least 2, maybe 3. I don't know. I don't know how many more documents are coming. Now, as for when this project ends, the next project, will it start remotely? Will it start in an office? I don't know. And if it does start in an office, if my kids are still out of school, sorry. Oh my gosh, my nose. I'm just going to cut it off. If my kids are still out of school and there's not a project for me to do remotely, then I might be forced to take time off from work. I don't know, or else my husband might, if they still have an open attendance policy. We'll see. We are taking it one day at a time still because things change so fast. I don't want to get into like the politics of how things are going. It's not good. Somehow a pandemic is becoming a partisan issue, which is insane. Because like the vast majority of experts are saying one thing, and then there's the political opposition that thinks it knows better and that's just trying to play on people's fears of government. I don't even know. I don't want to get into it because it makes me really angry. But like there are groups protesting lockdowns in different states, and like they're saying that they're going to just drive around in their cars, but then they're getting out of the cars and they're crowded together in groups, and it's like, are you really that stupid? And what makes me angry about it too is the people that insist on ignoring all the guidelines for social distancing and gathering and stuff like that. It's not like they're just endangering themselves. They're endangering everybody else they come into contact with after that. And that includes the vulnerable people like, grocery store clerks and such, who are in very, very dangerous positions, really, just from working in a grocery store because they're exposed to so many different people over so many hours. And so these people are just so selfish, and it makes me so angry. Anyway, so that's where we're at. It does seem like maybe some areas of the country have peaked, and then there's other places that have just think they've peaked, even though the evidence doesn't necessarily show that, because you can't have one day of numbers going down and say, oh, we've peaked. There needs to be sustained downward motion of the numbers, because they can fluctuate from day to day. The number of cases based on how much testing is going on, and the number of deaths based on how many are being accounted for that day, because I know like there was a large number in New York City the other day because they accounted for all at once a large number of people who died at home who were not previously being accounted for in the numbers because they weren't tested initially, they weren't diagnosed initially, they were left in their homes, they for one reason or another weren't sick enough at first and got too sick to get to the hospital or whatever, or died while the paramedics were on their way, various situations there, but those numbers weren't being added initially. So they added them all at once, and there was a big spike in numbers. So that's just one example of how the numbers can fluctuate from day to day. And so in order to actually say you're past peak, you have to have seen sustained downturn for 2 weeks or more. And so these other places are like, oh, we think we've hit our peak. And they've had like one day where the numbers went down, and it's like, no, you really don't get how this works. And there are certain states that are talking about opening things up because people are just complaining so much. And it's just like, well, good luck for you, but can we build a wall around your state so you guys can keep your germs there? Because, again, these people aren't just endangering themselves. They're going to endanger everybody else they come into contact with. And then everybody those people come into contact with, because that's how this spreads. So, in a nutshell, everything sucks. Being stuck at our houses sucks. We're all in this together in the sense that it sucks for everybody. Everybody is suffering. But most of us are willing to put up with a certain amount of suffering for the greater good, because we recognize that we're all better off when we try to prevent mass deaths, even if we're not worried about ourselves or even our loved ones. I mean, I know a lot of people my age are worried about their parents, and I don't have to worry about my parents because my parents are already dead. It's maybe the first time I've ever actually been grateful for that, because I don't have to worry about them, because I know that that's a really big cause of concern for a lot of people, worrying about older parents, because they are more at risk from this. But like, so there are some specific people that I'm concerned about. I don't have to be as concerned about my own family now. I think I talked about that in one of my earlier videos, being worried because asthma was a risk factor. It generally is for respiratory illnesses. I know we are stressed out every flu season because, a flu can easily turn into pneumonia when you have asthma, and has for my husband more than once. But I was just reading an article in the New York Times yesterday that based on some early data out of New York, it looks like asthma is not an increased risk of complications or death from this. For whatever reason, I don't know why. I mean, this is something that attacks the lungs, but somehow asthma doesn't make you more likely to catch it or to have complications from it. And that is a huge relief to me personally, because I don't need to worry as much about my husband and half my kids that have asthma. I just want to throw that in there. Yay, one small ray of hope. However, I do know plenty of other people that I'm concerned about because they have other conditions like diabetes, which is for some reason a risk factor. But I don't have as many people that I'm personally worried about. I don't have, grandparents or parents to worry about. But I care about the general public. I care about people. I don't want thousands and thousands and thousands of more people to die because I'm tired of being stuck in my house. Yeah, I'm just really fed up with the people that say things like, well, they're just old and they were on death's door anyway, and people die every day, and they would die from the flu if they weren't dying from this, and I'm healthy, so I should be able to go back to work. And they just don't get it. All they care about is themselves and their bank accounts. And this is showing a very ugly sign of American culture that I'm not a big fan of. Not a big fan of that selfishness and greed and the idea that your rights are more important than anyone else's rights, because there's all this, oh, you're infringing on my rights by telling me to wear a mask. You're infringing on my rights by telling me to stay home. Well, what about other people's right to live without other people spreading a deadly virus to them unnecessarily? You know, your rights end where someone else's begin. So, okay. I said I wasn't going to go off on this stuff, so I'm going to stop now. That's our update. One more week of this. We have survived. Everybody in the family is still currently alive. Nobody's murdered anybody yet, although there's been some dicey moments. Hoping the next week goes better, that we'll be more settled into school, and maybe we'll have some better weather so the kids can get out and just ride their bikes and roller skate and get some energy out outside so they're not driving me crazy inside. And hopefully my work goes okay, and just, that's the most I can hope for at this point. I'll try and do a video sooner next time, and talk about some other stuff going on, like some stuff with the kids' activities, like scouts and stuff like that, and just whatever else. I feel like I could go more into detail when I was doing things more frequently, and now it's just like, here's a recap, here's the highlights, here's the worst parts, here's my random rant. Whereas if I were doing videos daily, you get a better picture of just kind of what the day-to-day life is like when you're quarantined. So I have now talked for nearly half an hour. I should have been home 20 minutes ago. So I'm going to go home now and figure out dinner. We might be getting takeout from a local restaurant tonight. And I'll do another video as soon as I can. Stay healthy and keep breathing.